I'm Jerry Owen. I'm a fitness trainer with the Riverside Township and the Senior Exercise Program. And our normal meeting time is Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon. And today, we're going to be broadcasting with Riverside TV. Now, some of you have worked with me before, and some of you may be joining me for the very first time. Today, we're going to do a workout, 1-minute exercises. We're going to choose 5 exercises, and we're going to run through 2 cycles. So we'll run an exercise for 1 minute. I'll give you a halfway mark, and I'll give you the last 3 seconds, and we'll take about 15 seconds to move to the next exercise. We'll do a guided warm-up, which I'll show you, and we'll do that together, and then we will move into our exercise circuit. Let's get our bodies warmed up. So we're going to move around a little bit so we can get our joints warm, increase our internal core temperature, and we're going to start with what I call the lunge matrix. So we're going to move in multiple directions. We're going to move forward or in our sagittal plane, okay, alternating. Then we're going to move frontal plane or lateral, okay, and then the opposite side. And then we're going to move transverse plane. So we get a little bit of a trunk rotation here, okay, and my toe turns out, okay, because I want my knee to track my toe. I don't want to torque my knee, so it's real important. Turn that toe out, okay? And the same on the other side. If you feel comfortable, if this makes you dizzy or you don't feel like your equilibrium is there, you can skip this one and just stay with the sagittal plane and the frontal plane, okay? So we're going to move and alternate each time, okay? Forward, keep the weight in your heels, really important. Toes straight ahead, heels down, okay? Heels down on this one as well. Okay, remember, turn the toe out a little bit so your knee tracks the toe. Okay? Forward. We're just going to try to increase your heart rate a little bit, get everything warm, get those joints good, strong, and stable. Okay? Keep going. Forward, lateral, keep the heels down, load your hips on this one. Rotate your trunk a little bit, let your head turn with your body, okay? Let me show you from this side, okay? So we're going forward, okay? Heel down in the front, okay? Both heels down here, lateral, okay? You can even use this one as a workout. If you want to get a good workout in and you're limited in time, you could turn on the television for a few minutes and turn on some music and do this warm-up as an exercise routine for 10 minutes or so, okay? Do one more round here. Okay? Now, get the shoulders and arms warmed up. Let's do 10 circles forward. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And let's do 10 backwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, now hug yourself. We're going to alternate the hands each time for 10, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, and let's rotate that trunk again, okay? So don't just flail your arms and your shoulders. Actually rotate your trunk. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, let's get to work. All right, so now that we're warmed up, we're ready to start our circuit. Okay, so we're going to do 5 exercises. We're going to do a squat, and I'm going to show you 4 different ways to do the squat, 4 modifications, or the way to do the squat with 3 modifications. We're going to do a push-up. We're going to do a reverse lunge using the stage, and And we're going to do a curl with a press overhead if you feel comfortable going overhead. If not, you can just stay with the curl. You can use a pair of dumbbells if you have them. I wouldn't suggest anything over 3 to 4 pounds. You can use 2 canned goods. If you have 2 cans of peas that weigh the same, you can use that, or you can use small water bottles as long as you can grip them safely, okay? If you don't have that, you can just use your fists. The motions will be just fine, okay? That, and then we're going to do a rotational movement with our water bottle, can, or dumbbell, okay? So for squatting, our first exercise, we can do it 4 different ways, okay? We can do an actual body weight air squat where I'm pushing my hips back over my heels. I'm keeping my chest up. That's really important. You want to be able to extend through your thoracic spine here, okay? When you squat, you don't want to be rounded, okay? You want to keep your chest up. So I don't care how deep you go into a squat, but what I do care about is I don't want to see your heels peel up, okay? So you want to keep your weight in your heels and your hips. So we don't want to be quad dominant or knee dominant when we squat. We want to be hip and glute dominant, okay? So knee dominant would be pushing into your knees and your heels coming up, okay? We want to squat with our hips going back, okay? So I would rather see you squat this deep, but with your heels down, than try to impress me and get as low as you can by elevating your heels, because then you're in the danger zone. You're just putting the pressure on your knees, okay? So this is a good squat, even if you don't go all the way down. If you go all the way down, that's great, but as long as your weight's in your heels, okay? The other option would be to use a railing of a staircase, your kitchen counter. If you have a really stable table, you can do squats from here, okay? Hanging on for balance, okay? All right, the other option would be to use a chair, okay? So preferably a firm chair, and use that as your target, okay? So you're gonna be, for any of the squats, you're gonna be just a little outside of your hips, in between your hips and your shoulders, okay? Whatever feels comfortable. You may need to toe out a little bit, if you can do it with the toes straight ahead. But the most important thing is I want you to keep your heels down, okay? So that's number 1. So you can line it up with the legs just outside your hips, just in between your shoulders, and use that as a target, okay? So if you need to sit completely, and even just for safety, if you feel like you kind of have to fall into the chair, that's okay too. But just make sure when you're coming up, you're pushing off your heels, okay? So if you can touch and then come back up, then that's great. The other last option would be to use your stable surface and your chair, okay? So now you can sit and you have the chair as safety, and you have your stage or your counter, your table, or your railing to pull yourself up, okay? Here, okay? So whatever you use, again, can't stress it enough, keep the weight in your heels, okay? Now, our second exercise, push-ups. So you can use your railing, table, counter. Keep your shoulders depressed, okay? Keep them down towards your knees. You don't want to elevate in your shoulders, okay? Because then that'll put stress on your neck. And then go as deep as you feel comfortable going, okay? If this is as deep as you feel comfortable going, stay with that, okay? Just keep the shoulders depressed. Just use good form. If you can lightly touch your chest to your object, then that's fine too, okay? My elbows are rotated out a little bit. I'm going to work my tricep, my shoulders, and my chest, okay? So like this. Now, a lot of people will ask, should I keep my heels down? You don't have to keep your heels down. If you have flexible calves and you can do the push-ups without elevating your heels, that's fine. If you need to elevate your heels, the most important part is you don't want to arch or get too much extension in your lumbar spine, okay? And don't shrug your shoulders, okay? So here's our push-up, okay? Now, our next exercise, we're going to be using your counter or your table again. So instead of squatting, we're going to do a reverse lunge, okay? Now, you're going to bend the knee. So the goal is to try and get 90 degrees with the front leg and 90 with the back, but you don't have to go that deep. Your heel's connected to the floor in the front, okay? So my traveling leg is on the toe, my stationary leg, the heel's down, and that's very important, just like with the squat, okay? Here. I don't care how deep you go, but as long as that front heel is connected, don't want to do this, okay? Because then again, that puts pressure in the knee. We want the glutes to work. We want your butt to work, okay? Here. All right. Fourth exercise, grab your dumbbells, your cans, your water bottles, and you're going to do a curl, okay, and press overhead. If you feel comfortable doing that, okay? So if you don't, if you have shoulder issues, you have trouble going over your head, just stay with the curl, okay? So curl, press, okay? So curl and press. If you need to lean up against your stable surface, you know, don't put all your weight into it, but you just use it for a little bit of a safety net, okay? Curl and press. But again, don't want to get too much lumbar extension just like with your push-up, okay? So don't arch your back to get overhead. So if you have to get completely over your head, if you have to arch your back, then you're going too high. So just stay with the curl or just stay with your pressing movement around this range, okay? So curl and press overhead, okay? And then lastly, we're going to do a rotation. So grab one dumbbell, one water bottle, one can, whatever you're using, and like our warm-up, we're going to rotate the trunk, okay? But again, think about this object staying directly center of my body, okay? I don't want to do my arms and my shoulders because then I'm shutting down the trunk of my body. I'm not using what I want to work here, okay? So here, I'm turning the trunk of my body, okay? Here, slight stop in the center, and then turn, okay? So we're going to do 1 minute, the exercises for 1 minute, and then I'll use a timer. I'll give you a halfway, and I'll give you the last 3 seconds. We'll take about 10 to 15 seconds to get into position for our next exercise, and we're going to do 5 full minutes, and then we'll take about a minute break, and then we'll repeat it one more time, okay? And then at home, since you'll know the exercises, if you want to repeat it a third or fourth time, you can. We're going to go through it twice. So let's get ready for our squat. And remember our different positions. Freestanding air squat, using your stable surface, using just a chair, or using the stable surface and a chair, okay? So let's start our timer, and we'll start in 3, 2, 1, go. Remember, weight in the heels, okay? And again, a good squat can be this deep as long as you're keeping the heels down, okay? Here, you're using your stable surface. I'm using this for balance, okay? Weight in your heels, not in your knees. Okay, stay away from this position. Halfway. You don't have to count your reps. Just try to keep moving for the minute. If you start to fatigue and you need to stop for a second, just stop. And then the clock's going to keep rolling, and you can go right back to it. Okay? So, can't emphasize it enough, weight in the heels. If I had to pick one exercise that's the most important that we're doing today, it's this one. Okay? I want you to be able to sit and stand up for as long as you possibly can. 3, 2, 1, rest. Okay, let's get ready for our next exercise. We'll do a push-up. Remember, shoulders down, okay? 1 minute. 3, 2, 1, go. Shoulders down. Don't elevate. Don't stress your neck. Don't arch your back. And again, if you have to pause, rest for a second, okay? Catch your breath, Give your muscles a little break, and then go right back to it, okay? Halfway. Okay, if you have to pause, again, pause, and then try to crank out a few more. Keep pushing. Keep your abs tight. 10 seconds. And 3, 2, 1, rest. Okay, let's get ready for our reverse lunges. Hang on to your stable surface. If you feel comfortable doing your reverse lunge without holding onto a surface, feel free to do so, okay? Weight in the heels and the heel on the front. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay? When you lunge back, you should be able to see the tip of your toe on that standing leg. Okay? If you can't see your toe, you're lunging too far forward in your knee. Okay? Putting stress on that knee. Alternate. Keep it going. Find your depth, find your range. Halfway. Okay? Again, if you want to try to do it without the stage, just keep the weight in the front heel. Okay? Real important. Keep it going. 10 seconds. Three, 2, 1, rest. All right, so this fourth exercise is probably the most fatiguing, okay, because you're working some small muscles. So if you have to stop, by all means, don't be afraid to stop and then get right back to it, okay? So ready in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, curl, okay, press, back down, okay, here. Here, again, if you feel uncomfortable or any pain going overhead, you don't have to go overhead. You could just stay with your curl, okay? Remember, don't arch your back, okay? We don't want to stress on the lumbar spine, okay? So halfway, if I can't get all the way overhead, that's okay. Just press to where you feel comfortable going and back down, okay? So I can easily just press to this position here. If you feel comfortable, go all the way up. Again, even with this one, it's an upper body movement, but keep your weight in your heels, okay? You don't want to be in the knees, and you want the heels elevated. 3, 2, 1, and rest, okay? And then finally, our rotation. Remember, I'm not just throwing my arms and shoulders in there. Okay, I'm really not getting any benefit by doing that. We want to work the trunk of your body. So we went from a lower body to an upper body, lower body, upper body, and now we're going back to the center. Okay, ready in 3, 2, 1, and go. Okay? Turn your head with your hands unless you start to get dizzy, then you can actually shorten that range up a little bit. Okay? I want everyone to be safe. Okay, I'm moving the trunk of my body, not just my arms and my shoulders. Dumbbell or your water bottle or you can is staying center. Okay, halfway. If you feel like the arms in this position is starting to stress your back, preferably you want to do this movement with 90-degree arms, but if you need to bring it in a little bit to take some of the weight off your anterior, to get a little bit more weight evenly distributed, you can rotate with the dumbbell a little closer to you. 3, 2, 1, and rest. Let's take 1 minute, and then we'll repeat those exercises, okay? So again, some key points again, weight in the heels, okay? So when I test people, when I'm doing a movement evaluation on people, it could be 50-50. A lot of times a person might be very, very knee dominant, okay? So your hips can hold a lot more weight than your knees. So the more hip dominance you have, the more your glutes work, the less your knees work, and the more your core works, okay? So I should be able to stand in front of this stage, and if I was knee dominant, I'm not going to get very far because my legs are going to hit the stage, okay? But if I'm hip dominant, then the stage isn't in my way, okay? So weight in the heels. So let's get ready to start the squat again in 5, 4, 3, 2, and go. Weight in your heels. Pretend if you're doing a freestanding squat, pretend that you're reaching back to touch a target. So even if you don't have a chair there, kind of visualize the chair in your mind and you're reaching back for it, okay? You can reach back and actually touch, which would be roughly the hips parallel the knees, then by all means, go as deep as you feel safe and comfortable going. Halfway. Keep working. Keep loading those heels. Load the hips. Almost there. 3, 2, 1, and rest. Okay, let's move to our push-up. Grab your stable surface. And by all means, if anyone wants to do it from the ground, feel free. Ready in 3, 2, 1, go. Shoulders depressed. So you should have some movement in your scapula or your shoulder blades, okay? So they should be, imagine that you had a soda can or a beer can in between your shoulder blades, and as you go down into your push-up, you're crushing it, okay? I can't do that very well if I'm elevated and shrugging my shoulders, okay? So shoulders down. Halfway. Okay, if you have to pause, take a pause. Otherwise, keep going. Keep pushing. And 3, 2, 1, and let's switch. Let's go to our reverse lunge, okay? Weight in the heels, remember. You should be able to see the tip of your toe from the grounded leg. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, keep your hands on your surface to keep your balance. Or again, if you feel comfortable stepping away, or you just need to put one hand down. Okay, keep it going. Halfway. Weight in your heel. Get the glutes working. Come up tall every time. Almost there. Three, 2, 1, rest. All right, let's move on to our curl and press. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Remember, don't crank on your back. You shouldn't feel any pain in your low back, okay? If you think about when I press overhead, okay, if my spine is in the right position, then the dumbbell is right over my glute, okay? If I have too much arch, then that dumbbell is right over my knee and the ball of my foot, okay? Halfway, that's where I want to stay away from. So if I can press overhead without arching in my low back or extending in my low back, then press all the way up. You need to shorten your range. Shorten your range. Okay? Three, two, one, and rest. Okay, our last exercise. All right, our rotation. Remember, trunk of your body, not arms and shoulders. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, head with your hands. Unless you start to get dizzy, then you can shorten your range up a little bit. Okay? But the trunk of my body is rotating my shoulders. Halfway. Okay, keep the trunk of the body rotating. Almost there. And 3, 2, 1, and rest. And like I said, feel free to go back through that 1 or 2 more times if you like, if you have time. Let's cool down with a little bit of that matrix that we did before, okay? Just move real easy, get the heart rate down. We'll finish with the multi-directional movement. Okay, we'll do 4 rounds. Heels down in the front. Both heels down as I'm moving lateral. Both heels down when I'm moving in that plane. Okay, 2 more rounds. Last one. And rest, okay? Be sure to drink plenty of water. Great job. And then tune in for our next exercise, our next workout. And we'll do something a little bit different. We're gonna duplicate some of these exercises just so it feels familiar, but we're gonna do it in a little bit different pattern. So thanks for joining us and have a great day.